got the fire going and coming back to the video. See if I can do something here. Frosty outside. Love the fire. Just basic appeal there. Same old theme really. I mean, here I am, cozy inside, moderately complete in some way in my connection to the machine. It's keeping me warm, dry and fed and so on. So why the need to extend outwards? Why the need to step out of the home into the cold outside? But a desire to remain connected. Very important to be connected to everything else. To be seen, to be not necessarily to give as you receive, but I often think about myself as a in some way a sort of transformative location through which pass the possibilities of perception, and out of which comes something slightly differently organized to what I received. A sort of organizing something, changing things. I mean, my job is currently, my night job at the petrol station is currently really focused on restoring the shop to its kind of state of newness, cleaning those coffee machines and filling them up with beans and mopping the floor and all of that stuff which goes on, which doesn't create any change at all. It just keeps things kind of steady. But just presents a particular kind of state to the world, which is humans find amenable. They like that. They like cleanliness and coffee and so on. Just part of something, part of a structure, as we all are. Listening to stuff and picking the bits we like and amplifying them, sending them back out there. Taking suggestions of a position from various locations and selectively repeating things you agree with. Basically shoring up a tone. the family does that, doesn't it? I guess they kind of present various possibilities and support particular behaviours, and keep it going. But is it the case that we actually do anything? Do we do anything? Or is it not just there anyway? And that our existence is a necessary consequence of the fact that it's there already. And we are part of the backstory that supports its structure. So we don't really do it at all. We are a side effect of its existence. It's another way of looking at our position. We're meaningless. We're just part of it all. The last few bits I've posted, really concerned, thinking about physiology, thinking about mental approaches to, life, creating better or worse experiences according to the way you approach things for yourself. I think the right way about something, and the consequence is that I have a particular experience which is something that I regard as being better than another kind of experience, and my body rewards me with a squirt of hormone or whatever chemical something which reinforces my desire to continue along that route. That's my body telling me what to do. It's not the other way around. My body is dictating a lot. It's telling me I'm hungry and making me do things that stop that from happening. Things that cause a conflict in my mind, perhaps. I've never understood eating, as an intellectual thing. Eating is an abhorrence, really, in some way. I'll take a living being, potentially, I'll take a living being and terminate a life in order to have a bit of warmth and a bit of nutrition for a moment. And, what am I more important than that thing? Can't say I am. Can't realistically establish a hierarchy of importance. All I can do is have a feeling about what I want to do, and what that is really what my body wants to do. So that whole body food cycle is it's sort of alien to me, really, in some ways, and I guess to everybody. It's like a little sideshow going on. So if I stop doing that, if I stop feeding myself and make my body suffer, what's that all about? Why would I do that? How would that improve anything? Well, it's quite difficult for me to have a view that it either improves or has the opposite effect. I don't know whether it's good or not. But I still do it because the process is in play. It's like there's a momentum there of consumption, of maintaining a particular tone, because that whole framework of the existence of the body as a tool with which to operate, within which to exist, that whole framework is one that's seen to kind of do the job in some way. I've chosen to be here. And I choose not to think about it. I don't have an intellectual view about eating. I just do what I fancy. I trust that my body knows what it wants to eat, and I make my best attempts to give it to it without responsibility. I do eat meat. I don't have any qualms about it. I really don't. And yes, I would find it difficult to, I won't say murder an animal, because I'm not even sure what that is actually. But yeah, no, I don't have any qualms about that. And the concept of waste is something that I perhaps don't have a conventional view about. Nothing unconventional about eating meat, but people do. Well, it is a popular view that it's wrong to waste food. It's particularly wrong to waste meat. And a simple and unsavoury way that I approach the conversation of waste goes along the lines of, this plate of food that remains after I've had my fill, thank you, on the plate, is, I've got a couple of options here. I can put it into the bin and it will go into a pile in the ground and carry on its existence there, doing whatever. Or I can pass it through my own body before doing it pretty much exactly the same. Why would I need to pass extra food through my body? I don't. I can't see the notion of waste present at all in either scenarios. It just is extra stuff that's there. I don't have a responsibility to consume it. I was thinking about, for no good reason, the bison going over the cliff edge as a method of acquiring one or two carcasses for your own consumption. How wasteful that seems to be. What a terrible waste. Where did that come from as the thing? Oh, it's a method that works. We found a way of getting what we want. I guess without a sense of responsibility more broadly for the maintenance of the system that supports it. So we kill all the bison in the world just because our practice is too efficient at getting bison for our food needs. So this stuff that we're consuming, the route to survival for us, I guess, is in being flexible in our needs, and of course we are. We've destroyed the supply of one thing. The simple and obvious solution, we just switch to using something else to support our existence. But there's still this thing, This is just the world of the body operating. All of that it is within the realm of the body and its requirements. And the body potentially is just a tool. I mean, I've kind of said in the past, a bit cranky, a bit, quirky, maybe a bit weird, the notion that our bodies, which have a significant proportion of other living beings that inhabit them, on which our bodies depend for their own existence, and which I presume depend on the existence of our bodies for their own existence in bacteria. Bacteria is they live in our gut, they help us digest things, we provide a particular environment, and there are different types of bacteria, and these bacteria are in competition with each other in the body and in the world, and we eat the wrong kind of the bacteria that the others don't want present, and hoof, up it comes. Get out of here. All of these kind of precious little environments that are multiple and varied, that are just, again, bodies, little bodies this time, desperate to keep going. Everybody's desperate to keep going, to keep some kind of physical presence through which tangible experiences can be had. That chain of need to be physical. Dear Colin Wilson, I'm going to talk about Colin Wilson because you're probably scratching your head about him a bit. But for me, I hear deeper truths from Colin Wilson than seem apparent from looking at the surface. And I think his position is an extremely well-grounded one. He does have a foot planted in both realms, as far as I'm concerned. He's completely fresh in his observation, without shame and without pride, and in that way, I think truthful observation helps to illuminate what underpins the value in what is fashionable. From the standpoint of now, of course, we think this is normality, and we have a perception of normality based on common comprehension and an agreement between ourselves about meaning. And it changes over time, of course, and you can look back on a culture, and you can experience things which are constant and still meaningful, and you can regard other aspects of a culture as being kind of unusual and meaningless in some ways, but indicative of the culture. Those things that are indicative of the culture are those things which are not consistent through. Not that the thread is what is unnoticed, really. This is a very loose little thing I'm doing here, very loose, but that's the way I want to go. I want to talk about the the split, I'm not going to say the split brain because I don't regard it in that way, but the different approaches to life that there are in the, I guess the connection to the body and the connection to what is not the body, and both working in concert with each other to form the kind of the nexus that we are. So what's so bloody important about us? What is so important about where we are now? So okay, we've got an awareness. This is the awareness that we have. It comes from the connection between all the things that make us what we are right now. That is the us. That is where we kind of come out of, as sort of the focus of all the things at the moment. What's so important about that? Why does that mean anything? Does it mean anything? And the notion that there are different coexisting higher level consciousness is like, for example, simplistic example, the internet. The internet has developed, potentially has developed consciousness already. The world has developed consciousness, as in the earth, not the universe, but the earth within the universe has developed consciousness. And there are aspects of, lots of different systems have developed consciousness, and probably all systems have consciousness as an immediate generation from their birth. Consciousness exists, and maybe it grows as the systems develop in complexity. But why should systems not have consciousness from the very start? Anything that, even the most simple system, has a basic consciousness. So the internet has a consciousness. In memes, it's expressed. It expresses it experiences in its own way. We are a component. Those who take part in it are a component of the body of the internet. So our view is Colin Wilson's worm's eye view. Our view of the internet is partial. We see a partial aspect of the consciousness of the greater internet. And we see magic. And it's the same with the way that the world operates. We see magic because we see tangible things that we cannot comprehend. And, to talk about synchronicity, or the experience of synchronicity, is an example of a way in which we're aware that our view is partial, because we see things, tangible things, that defy our understanding of the world. It's beyond our understanding, but it's real, and it indicates that there is a more complex structure that we do not understand with our methods of perception or with our own consciousness. So the presence of magic in our lives is an indication that there is more. And there is always more. And the internet will be part, in the same way that we are part of it, it will be part of something greater, and so on infinitely, and from us downwards infinitely. So there are all these locations in a ladder that meets itself probably. It's just like, okay, so bleeding what? So what? And yeah, that's it, so what? Doesn't matter. None of it matters as far as I can see. But there is an overwhelming sense of the need for survival, the need for this particular location in the massive structure of everything to exist. So think about matter. Think about stuff and non-stuff. Matter and the absence of it. What is stuff? Stuff is what? Atoms. Atoms are what? Atoms are just vibrating locations of intensity, whatever intensity is. But it's the dance of intensity, and the absence of intensity creates everything. And everything dances with everything and generates more and more. And our perception of being existent at all is materialized out of the complex structure of our bodies, maybe. Because I think our awareness is a consequence of, or is related to, our bodies. It lasts for no time, and then a new consciousness, and then a new one, and a new one. And here I am. I've talked myself into believing in nothing at all, not believing in the value of human beings or anything else. I don't feel bad about it. It's a bit weird, this one. I absolutely don't understand anything about anything at all, ever. I'm looking at the fire and it still seems to be meaningful to me in my present state, and I'm going to leave it there because I think that rounds it off nicely. Thank you very much. Okay, bye bye.